Second part of part 3, baby!
If you're just joining us, this is Dateline's third undercover investigation into online sex predators.
This time in Riverside County, California.
I looked up Riverside County and I must say, now I really want to live there in the summer and autumn. Basically, when forest season is over, I'd be glad to live there. The geography just looks so cool and the area looks so nice.
And what were you going to do with the camera?
Help her audition for Jim Will Fix It, I imagine.
You've had sex with men before. It happens.
So true. Just last week I was walking down the street when I slipped over a banana peel left there by an Italian man in a go-kart. Suddenly, my trousers and underpants came off, exposing my voluptuous, bouncing cheeks. At the same time, my friend was hit by a bomb that took off his underwear and trousers, sending him flying forward. Eventually, his thick, meaty shaft slammed into my bottom, and he kept pouncing in and out until he climaxed. True story. Then Dateline have one of those beautiful little montages that I love, taking us through the booking process and predators we've seen before.
He tells the detective that he and his wife are splitting up, and it's caused him a lot of stress.
I have a wife at home. I should be at home trying to fix things between me and her.
Then why aren't you? What kind of a defense is that?
But I'm telling you, I don't believe it that you didn't intend to have sex at some point with this girl.
I swear to God,
that puts a bad mark on my job, on everybody. Every cop in this country, you put a bad mark on them.
Well, that's interesting. I've been told many times that one bad apple in the police force doesn't affect anything.
This is the first time we get to see all of the men's personal...
You're just going to have to believe me here, because YouTube would absolutely obliterate my channel, but they just have a dildo lying about in the open. It's not blurred or anything, it's just out there for all to see in the episode.
What is this? Some pills? Okay. What kind of pills?
There's the say so.
Huh?
There's the say so.
Roll off a new one. Well, tell me what kind of pills we're talking about. Is this Viagra?
He breaks down.
The bigger they are, the harder they cry.
What'd you do your time for? What were you charged with?
Holy moly, we're about to see this guy get his head busted open like a melon by the police. Please, 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 please let that be the case.
I need you to just arrest me and take me to jail and execute me.
I need to talk to you first.
Chris is just like, we'll leave you dead in a ditch, don't worry about that. But only after I get my content first.
He was arrested and did go to jail. But guess what he did once he was bailed out? Amazingly, he was in the classroom.
If I was a paedophile and genuinely wanted to be executed for my crimes, or thought that it was really, really, really wrong, because it is, the last place I would go to would be a school filled with children around the same age I was caught trying to molest. Don't take anything I just said out of context, please.
Okay.
Damn! They really caught him in 240p. So the first properly featured predator of the episode is convicted felon Daniel Allen.
Screen name Trying to Be Normal.
Absolutely curiosity that got me.
Curiosity? Maybe, but his chat log suggests something else.
Maybe he's telling the truth. Perhaps he's a virgin that's curious to see what a pussy looks like.
I will come to you and we will get a place for passionate love.
Yeah, well, what does that sound like to you?
A man whose most intimate interactions have been with a romance novel from the bargain bin.
Nah, am I too young? I hate to say this, but you're not.
Let me say this.
Go ahead.
Okay, I'd have conversations like this with people that turn out to be guys more than half the time.
This isn't Qatar, Uganda, or Alabama. The issue is not the sex of the person, it's the age of the person you wanted to have sex with. Throughout the interview, Dan just stutters through a really bad defense. There have been some terribly conceived defenses shown on this program, but this is by far the worst delivered one. To top it all off, he then goes and threatens the camera crew whilst the cameras are on. It's like he's got a crime bingo and is gunning for a full house.
Several years ago, Daniel Allen was convicted of willfully, maliciously, and repeatedly stalking a woman, causing her to fear for her safety.
To get arrested for stalking pre-2000s is quite something. The Slumber Party Massacre 2 was a dog shit film that ate away at my soul. but it did show pretty well how hard it was for women to be believed by the police.
And here's another man with a criminal history, Joseph Federico.
This name just feels so perfectly Spurs in the 80s. Like, I can imagine just spending random time at like 2:13 in the morning on a Wednesday reading about how he almost won the 1987 FA Cup with Spurs. It's beautiful. It's just a shame this one had to be a predator.
When I saw something like this on TV a few weeks ago, just things that the person said just made it sound like a setup.
Sure, that's why you were chatting for 3.5 hours and decided to pretty much end the conversation by asking her to watch you jerk off. You jerk off.
Okay.
And
So why would you come out?
just piqued my curiosity.
This defense seems to be being used quite a lot, and it makes me wonder what chat room they're in. The Pedophile Scientist Society.
Unbelievably, some men who show up at our house thinking they might be having sex with a 12 or 13-year-old are registered sex offenders.
To be honest, that's the least shocking thing about this whole parade of idiots.
Our hidden cameras are rolling as 68-year-old Robert Emmett Lyons stands in our kitchen. Lyons claims he's only 28.
He don't look horrendous for 68, but for 28 I'd start picking out coffins you like immediately. Fun fact though, according to the TCAP wiki, he's the second oldest guy Chris Hansen has ever caught, and the oldest predator ever caught on To Catch a Predator.
Check it out, this is his picture, right? That's his sex offender register picture. It's the same guy.
Apparently he was on probation for 9 charges when he walked into the house. I don't even know what to say here. At least his bail was $1.1 million.
It's a pretty sexually charged conversation, Robert.
You okay, dude? Your mouth twitches are extremely noticeable. Here's a question though. Which twitch is more related to sex offenders? Robert Lyons's or Amazon's?
He says, do we need rubbers? Do they hurt? I don't know. I don't blank guys, but if you want to, you can do me.
Interestingly, he's very adamant throughout this chat log that he wants to bottom this child. He even offers multiple times to pay for the encounter.
In fact, Lyons was arrested only 5 months ago for a lewd sex act with a person 15 or younger.
Sorry? How long were you in prison for that offense?
I wasn't in prison.
You weren't in prison. You got probation?
Correct.
He was arrested for shagging a child. He only got probation. I don't think that was a wise sentence given that he decided to try and do it again almost immediately.
I'm Chris Hansen with Dateline NBC, and we're doing a story on computer predators.
So what does this mean? I want to be on Dateline or what?
He's 48-year-old Jean-Pierre Michael Weary.
He has a conviction for an assault with a deadly weapon that went back to, I believe, 1981. He was convicted and sentenced to 3 years in prison for rape. And in 2000, he was also sent to prison for failure to register as a sex offender.
This guy's criminal past is insane. It's genuinely mental, and the fact that he was a free man is incredibly concerning.
He writes, "How can I promote someone I never had lots of hot sex with?"
Either nearly every promoter on the planet manages it, or Eddie Hearn has some public scandals waiting to come to light.
So eager was this registered sex offender that he boarded a bus and then walked more than 2 miles to get to the Sting house.
At some point, even to a predator, it just isn't worth it. This should have been one of those times. But as it is, his background is very interesting and quite tragic. Not that it excuses his actions here in any way at all, but during his interview, he's so relentlessly boring. It's like watching Jailbait directed by Jared Kahn.
He's a registered sex offender, and he's making a beeline for the decoy who said she's a 13-year-old girl.
Fucking hell, these second half predators really do just bolt for the decoy, don't they?
His name is Greg Carnos. Back in 1999, 7 years before he walked into our house, he was convicted of attempting lewd acts with not one, but 7 children 15 years old and younger.
7? That's insane. How is he free?
Meister discovered Carnos hanging out near the school where these sex crimes were reported and approached him.
He said, yes, it was me, and I was shocked that he told me that. I asked him if he was around junior high schools. We had a 10-year-old victim, and he says, no, I don't do it around 10-year-olds. I just do it around high school girls.
Kill him! What do you do for a living, Greg?
I'm a manager.
Manager of what?
Telecommunications.
Really?
Imagine that in TCAP. A person who works intimately with computers falling for a perverted justice online decoy.
Do you like older guys?
No.
No, I'm reading from the chat log. You ask, whoa, sir.
Reminds me of Piers Morgan's last day at ITV.
To trash her.
Okay, I'm done with this.
No.
Sorry, no.
Sorry. Do you know what? That's pathetic.
You can trash me, mate, but not my own
No.
stuff. See you later.
I'm being...
Sorry, can't do
This
this.
is absolutely diabolical behaviour.
I struggle to see which one I hate more.
He may be silent now.
What happened here then? Your obscenely inflated police budgets didn't cover extra handcuffs.
Based upon your experience, if one of these guys serves 3 or 4 years and gets out, would it surprise you if he got right back on the internet and started this activity again?
It wouldn't surprise me if he got right back on the internet an hour after he got out.
She's right, you know.
Then we get this segment about predators and reoffending. It's really good and I suggest that you check it out. But it also reminded me of a Louis Theroux documentary where he went into a state hospital for sexually violent predators. It's called A Place for Paedophiles and I highly recommend it. We then get to a bit which I really don't like with the information we're given. They contact a victim of one of the predators who was repeatedly abused for a long time as a child. What I don't like about it is it feels as if Dateline have ignored any sense of healing that occurred during the intervening time period to drag up old traumatic memories to gain viewers. I could be completely wrong about this. She may have asked to speak to them, or maybe she was grateful that Dateline asked her. I just hope that they weren't pressured into doing something that they didn't want to do.
He's 42-year-old Thomas Bodner. Bodner says he loves the boy.
Whoa! Slow down there, buddy. Coming on a little strong, don't you think?
How you doing?
Bodner runs out the door as soon as he sees me.
I'm not gonna lie, he was kind of slick with that exit.
And gets tackled by investigators.
I guess you could call that a takedown with Chris Hansen.
What'd you do your time for? What were you charged with?
They did bust his head open! Let's go! Normally I'm against any kind of unnecessary violence from the police, but I'll make an exception for this vile, evil piece of shit.
It was 1985 when Sergeant Jerry Moore of the Salem Police Department in Oregon wrote this police report detailing the repeated incidents of child molestation.
Yet he's still free to walk around after they found more victims. Chris was right. The system doesn't work. And on that sad note, that's where we end the video. Thank you all for watching. If you thought that this video was good, then please leave a like, and I shall see you all later. Also, the music is still really good.